The Street Stops Here. You followed the St. Anthony High School basketball team for their 2008 season and their Hall of Fame coach, Bob Hurley Sr. This was like Last Chance U before Last Chance U on Netflix. And obviously Last Chance U is a junior college story, but this really felt like a last chance for a lot of these kids. How did you get involved with The Street Stops Here? How did the documentary come together?
So one of the producers on the project, Krista Saponaro, she was a producer and colleague that I worked with at ESPN. She had went freelance like myself and had gotten connected with the production company Teamworks Media in Chicago, Illinois. And their producers, Mike Sear and Jay Sharman, had been working with one of the former players and coaches, Rashawn Burno, who was a Hurley disciple, played under Bob Hurley back in the day, and was coaching at the time, I think, at the Paul, when Jay and Mike had been talking to him. And Rashawn had always said, man, you got to try to do a documentary on my coach, on Bob Hurley. And obviously everybody kind of knew who he was already. There was a book written by the Woj bomb himself, Adrian Wojnarowski, A Miracle at St. Anthony, that looked at probably 3 or 4 years prior to when we filmed at St. Anthony. So he was fairly well known. And so, it was really the Teamworks Media team that negotiated the access with Bob Hurley and St. Anthony and Sister Allen and Bob Hurley's wife and all that stuff. And Krista kind of reached out to me at the time as I was doing freelance work. I was doing show opens for ESPN. Sunday Night Football was what they had at the time, and we were creating some really cool content. But I was looking to do a bigger project, and it just kind of all worked out, the timing of everything. She said, "Yeah, I have this project. I think it'd be great for you to be a part of." And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." Ended up meeting Coach Hurley. And the rest was kind of history from there.
As you start to dig in and tell this story, at what point do you realize that this is no longer just a basketball story, but a much more bigger life story and about the school almost closing down? When does that all kind of hit you and realize, like, okay, we got to look at this for more than just talking about Bob Hurley Sr.?
I think actually kind of from early on, we always knew that was the thread with St. Anthony. That was something that was kind of part of their legacy. This idea that they charged less than what it really cost to educate a child per student there. So they were always at this deficit. They were always had this need to raise extra money so that they could keep the doors open and everything. And so that was something that we knew would be something that we had to take stock of very, very early on. I don't think we really realized that the school truly might close until, we got deeper into the year and we realized, yeah, they're not making their fundraising numbers at all. This is they're still feeling the effects of 9/11 at that time, and the fundraising was off. So it really wasn't until that late part of the school year where we saw, yeah, they're going to have some true issues here in regards to trying to keep the doors open this time.
I wanted to ask, what was it like working with Coach Hurley? Obviously, he's a hardcore general. What was it like working with Coach, and did he ever tell you to turn the cameras off or get out of his face?
Never saw Coach Hurley. He never told us to turn the cameras off. Here's the biggest thing that we saw with Coach Hurley. Before I joined the project, they had the Teamworks, the production company, they had produced a trailer. Obviously you're producing trailers to try to raise money and garner interest and everything. And so during this trailer, when they filmed with Coach Hurley, I mean, they had to bleep out every word, I mean, the guy was dropping F-bombs and curses left, right, okay? And so I think once he saw that trailer and he saw himself, he was like, holy shit, I got to change this up. I cannot be as crazy as I am and using such language all the time if the cameras are around, you know? So at the very beginning of the shoot, he definitely was very aware of us being there and toned down on his language. But what you did see in contrast to that was his sarcasm and the way that he was still able to kind of really dig into the kids and stuff and into the young men with just layers and layers of sarcasm, which became, I think, even better than him just dropping, the F-bombs and all that. Because I think for some people, that kind of really being harsh language, using that all the time, it's going to rub people the wrong way and not make this guy, not to say we're trying to make him sympathetic or empathetic, but he just won't have the room on his side, when you're making it, when you're watching the film and everything. So he was cautious in the beginning. It started to slip a little bit as we got farther down in the road. And obviously, one of the key moments of the movie is when he loses his temper and he he tells the other coach to go look at the scoreboard and stuff like that. That is just quintessential Hurley at that moment. He's not caring about us. He just is him in his element. And from then on, he was really in his element and did not tell us to turn off the cameras at all. We were just in there. I will say there was one time, I think probably early mid-season, when, and it's a game that's not in the movie at all, he did lock the locker room door so that we couldn't get in to the locker room, and he blistered his team, and they ended up winning this game. They still blew the team out by 40, 50 points. But at this point in the season, it was early on. He probably didn't know us that well, and they ended up locking the door. And so I remember saying, okay, well, we can fight fire with fire, and we have to have one of our cameras in there before the game is over. And so that's what we did. We had one of our cameras in the locker room before the game was over. And it's we're kind of staking our claim there. So, I never ended up really having a conversation to kind of talk about parameters of things as the year was going on. It was like this little cat and mouse that we would play. But it was all in fun,
Yeah. You still have the audio, though. You still have the audio, right?
Still had the audio, yeah.
He's mic'd up, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, that's funny. I was at a seminar, or something with Steve James, and there's a scene in Hoop Streams where they didn't get the shot in the locker room, but they had the audio, and he went back and just filmed the door, played the audio with the door, and it was a magnificent scene. So
there you go. Yeah,
that was, there's ways to get around that.
Totally.